Okay, chapter talk covering chapter 4. Our learning objectives out of this chapter. Now, I'm just going to start by saying this chapter covers several, meaning many strategies to uphold these objectives. For brevity's sake, I cannot go over every one of them without boring you to tears. So I am selecting the key pieces out of chapter 4, but please read the text in its entirety. Okay. So with that said, chapter 4 learning objectives. Number 1, make business messages concise, clear, and readable. Concise, clear, and readable. That is always our goal. Number 2, identify proofreading problem areas. And then lastly, evaluate message for effectiveness. Okay, so let's just tackle business writing. Concise and clear. Okay, what do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. Business writing is all about writing lean, finding the minimum word count to make the maximum message. It is all about brevity. We have to assume in the workplace that your message is not going to be read. It's going to get skimmed at best. So we need to write accordingly. So let's talk concise, okay? The goal of concise writing is to pick the words that say the most. Brevity, it's one of my favorite words. So specifically, I'm going to go through the following 5 techniques that our text advocates, okay? Cutting the clutter. Again, we're aiming at lean beef here. Slash the flabby expressions, purge long lead-ins, drop unnecessary words, reject redundancies, and eliminate empty words. This is how we write lean. This is how we write in a business context. We're making our writing 100% skimmable. Okay, so number 1, slash the flabby expressions. Okay, so we cut the fat, okay? We shorten sentences, we select concise words, and we take away anything we don't need. So oftentimes in business writing, people want to write how they speak. Don't do that, okay? Instead of saying, as a general rule of thinking, just say generally. Or at a later date, just say later, right? In addition to the above information, I'm jumping down to the last one here, simply say also. Again, we know that sentences that have 8 words or less have almost 100% comprehension. So why would we waste our word count on expressions that don't really get to the point? Okay, so slash the flab. Let's look at an example. As a general rule of thumb, I like to arrive early to class. Okay, there is so many words here that are simply flab. Let's get rid of it. How should we write this word? How about simply saying, I like to arrive early to class? Or even better, I arrive early to class. Next up, let's look at long lead-ins. Again, so oftentimes we default to how we speak when we write, and we need to stop that in efforts to be a successful business communicator. So when we avoid long lead-ins, we get right to the point and we remove unnecessary words. Let's look at a sample. And folks, this is not uncommon to see these lengthy lead-ins. And here's the risk you run with a lead-in. People won't read it. They never get to the actual point because you've bored them or confused them, or they simply don't have time. So sample, please note that this early email is being sent to let everyone know that you may sign up for vacation slots starting February 1. Oofta. Okay, so the point of this message, right, is to let you know when you can begin to sign up for vacation. So let's get rid of that lead-in. You may sign up for vacation slots starting February 1. Notice we got right to the point, okay? So we got to be aware of long lead-ins. Let's look at a sample here. I would like to take a moment to tell each of you what an excellent job you're doing in business communication. Okay, now I may speak like that, but that's not okay to write that way. Instead, I need to simply state, you're doing an excellent job, right? That's about as short as I can make that. You are doing an excellent job. I cut that down to 5 words. Purge. Get rid of anything that detracts from the point. Next up, drop unnecessary words. We use a lot of words, again, leaning on how we speak, that have no place in business writing. Fillers, adding pronouns, there, is, are, it, is, was, where we can simply get rid of them. Okay, so let's look at some samples. There are more women than men enrolled in college today. Okay, that's not terrible, right? But we can clean that up. Let's look at the concise version. More women than men are currently enrolled in college. So notice how we slashed the there are, right? We got right to the point. Another sample, again, not a huge sentence, but can be cleaned up. It was a Facebook post that revealed the news. Okay, so the it was, we have some unnecessary words. A Facebook post revealed the news. Now, again, these are not terrible sentences, but in the workplace, the word count matters. We want to get rid of anything unnecessary. Okay, so let's look at a sample. It has been said that failing to plan is planning to fail. All right, we can hack this sentence up, right? This whole first 5 words, it has been said that, is unnecessary. We can just say failing to plan is planning to fail. Drop anything unnecessary. Redundancies. Okay, so many times, again, we write how we speak, and we are redundant. And redundancy adds word count unnecessarily, and it halts comprehension or potentially causes the reader to not continue reading. So redundancies are expressions that repeat the same thing, okay? They are saying the same thing. Unnecessary words once again. Common ones, I see. Let's drop down here. I see this all the time in higher education. The course is a necessary prerequisite. Okay, well, the word prerequisite itself means it is necessary or required. So we can just get rid of that first word and go right to prerequisite. Let's jump up to the top here. Absolutely essential. Now, we might say that, but in writing, it's saying the same thing. Okay, just go right to essential. Or adequate enough. Again, those two things are saying the same thing. Get rid of enough and just go to adequate. Okay, so get rid of things that are saying the same thing. Let's look at an example. How would you like to ride along with me to the football game? Okay, I laugh at this one because growing up in Minnesota, the ride along with is a complete redundancy that is used always. Instead, how do we reject the redundancy? Would you like to ride with me? Right? Instead of ride along with. Those are all repeating the same notion. Okay, next we have eliminating empty words. Okay, these are things that are simply obvious, things we say but shouldn't write once again. Okay, they're empty. They don't add meaning, so we get rid of them when business writing. So let's look at some empty word examples. Sample 1. Changing the name of a company that has experienced moderate levels of success is always risky. Okay, how do we eliminate what's empty here? Changing the name of a successful company is always risky. Now notice we took out anything that was empty or didn't add meaning, and we cut that word count in almost half. Okay, let's look at the second sample. In regard to the FedEx package, it was delivered at some point on Thursday. Okay, there's several words in here that are simply doing nothing to add power to our sentence. Let's eliminate. The FedEx package was delivered on Thursday. And that's what we need to know, right? If I got a package coming, I just need to know if it arrived. I don't need to know in regard to what or at some point or anything like that. Get rid of the empty. Okay, next, eliminate empty words following that notion. All things considered, it would be in the best interest of the team if we schedule a meeting at your earliest convenience. Whew, this is loaded with emptiness. That means nothing. So what is the point of this? Take a second. We need to schedule a meeting as soon as possible, right? All things considered, that's empty. In the best interest of the team, empty. Get right to the point. We need to schedule a meeting at your earliest convenience. Now, this is going to be your assignment this week, okay? You are going to help this letter out. This is an actual letter I received from a teacher last fall notifying parents of the 4th grade Halloween party. Now, you will simply note from the get-go, it is one big block of words. I want you to take everything we are learning this week and hack up this letter and rewrite it, okay? So let me give you a few more strategies, and I will have complete instruction on this in coursework. Next subject, clarity. Clarity. Okay, So all the things we just talked about are making our message clear, but we have to lean on the nonverbals to help us. And a beautiful thing in business writing is white space. And that is simply any space on the page that is blank, that is white. The word truly represents what it is. Why is white space so powerful? Because it guides the reader. It tells them where to go and it points them in direction of what's most important. Last week we talked about road signs. White signs are just as important as the nonverbals you use to guide them. Okay, so this business plan, you'll see, has some nice white space. It's got headings, spaces between paragraphs, some lines, some color variants, right? All of these things are telling us where to look. So folks, first consider white space, okay? Now we don't want our writing to look like this. This looks like a headache and it looks like something I don't have time for. Whereas this document, I can go to the thing I need to find, okay? So your nonverbal elements that we lean on, spacing, put some space between, add some white. Bullets, bullets are my best friend. They tell the reader, I'm going to concisely tell you what you need to know. Numbers, if you're providing instruction or direction, number it. Lists, simple lists, create, how do I want to say that? They avoid overwhelm for the reader. Headings and bold font are all cues, okay? So I want you to hack up this letter this week, add white space, eliminate all the unnecessary words, organize it visually, tell the reader just what they need to know. Okay, the last thing we need to touch on just quickly, I know you are all college students, but trust me, these things are often forgotten in business writing. Spelling, it matters, right? This one just cracks me up. School, SHCOOL, right? Puerto Rican teen named Mistress of the Universe. Whoops, right? That misspelling created a whole different meaning. Be aware of spelling. Grammar, oh my. We must always proofread. How do the words read? Buy bed, free one night stand. Okay, that it means a whole different thing, right? How we layer those words. Private, customer parking only. All others will be towed. Okay, now this is not a fairy tale, right? That's a whole different type of towing. So we need to consider our spelling and grammar. And folks, we need to proofread. Your punctuation matters. We are going to learn how to cut and paste, kids. Woofta, this guy needs some commas, right? We are going to learn how to cut and paste, kids. Or kids, we're going to learn how to cut and paste. Commas matter. Okay, and the last item, proofread. Proofread everything before you send that email or message. Think of how the reader might interpret it. Okay, so beyond slashing all the unnecessary, beyond adding white space, now we need to zone into the words and make sure they're saying what we intend. Tastes like grandma. Gosh, I hope not, right? How might the reader interpret that? Or even simple things. Sometimes we proofread the words, but we forget the numbers. Sunday, a high of 433. There goes the planet, right? Okay, so that is chapter 4, folks. All about making business messages concise, clear, and readable. Again, we're making them skimmable. We have to assume what we write is not going to be read. It's going to be skimmed at best. So using this, we need to power pack the words. Get rid of anything that we don't need to send our message. Then, secondly, we identified proofreading problem areas and then evaluating that message for effectiveness. Thank you.